Hello, I'm Shah from Drupal and I'm with episode 2 of Drupal Wows. We'll create related news or related articles, which is a very common functionality in websites, in this episode using self-referencing into Reason Drupal. And all of this will be without any code. And seeing this is no less than believing that Drupal can do magic for you even without code. So let's start. First, a bit of theory. So a typical news table with a self-referencing foreign key should be like this: normal fields, normal columns, and this is going to be the primary key news ID. But the most important column is parent news ID. It will refer to itself and it will make the relationships between news, whether news has a parent news or not, and how the data will be in the table. So the first row does not have any parent news ID and it's null, but the second news has a parent news ID of 1. It means the second news is related to the first one. So let's start. I have Drupal CMS homepage open. You can do it in Drupal core also. The first thing to do is to create the structure, and in Drupal, if you have to create a structure for content, and that is going to be content types, so you will do structure content types, and here you will create a new content type and name it news, and save and manage fields. Okay, we should have a description for the news as well. So in Drupal, we can reuse fields too in content types, and one of the fields we can reuse is field content, which already is available in basic page. So let us reuse this and save. Now let us create the most important field, which will be the parent news field, and that is that self-referencing foreign key field. So it will create a new field and we'll call it reference. Reference is for creating reference, and technically speaking, behind the scenes it creates junction tables in Drupal. That is for some other day. I will explain it. But for now, let us create a field and we'll make it the label of it should be parent news, and it will be referring content. Continue. Content of which type? Itself, the news. And save. Okay. Now we have created these two fields. If I go to create news now, so you have title, content, and then the parent news. And parent news can be anything. It is being fetched via Ajax, this default field. So let us create some content. Asia Cup is going to be held in September 25. Okay. So let me copy some. Go before some text for the news. Okay, so there is not going to be any parent news for this article. So or news. So let us leave it empty and we'll save it. This is the first news added. But if we add the new second news, Pakistan is expected to play 3 matches in it, and maybe some content again. Now we have to choose that news as the parent. This is the parent news and save. Similarly, another news, Quad for Asia Cup has been announced, and again some lorem ipsum, and here again it will be the parent news, this one, and save. Let us create another one. Wahab Riyaz is going to be coach for Pakistan team, and some lorem ipsum for the, and again it is going to be Asia Cup, this one, and save. So we have added 3 news, related news for this. And let me, if I go to cnn.com, I want to just show you something real quick while this opens. Let us create 2 or 3 more content, and US elections. So this is going to be top news, maybe another one, and it also does not have any parent. Let us make it 2025. Okay, so it does not have any parent news if I save it. But if I create the next news, Trump is expected to win, and maybe some lorem ipsum, and here the parent news should be US elections 2025. Save. Similarly, if I create another news, Trump holds a huge rally, and some this, and again the parent will be US elections. Let us create a new one. Harris holds a rally in Washington, and again the parent should be this, and save. So we have added 3 news each to the US elections and the Asia Cup in cricket. Now we need to show all of these news related at various places. So if I come to, maybe cnn.com is not opening for some reasons, you're unlucky, but you might have seen news, top news, and then certain news with some related news. This is what we are going to achieve. But initially, let us go to content, and if I click on the main news, Asia Cup cricket is going to be held in September. So if I click on this news, so here on the sidebar, I need to, or maybe at the bottom, I need to know what related news are there. Here, at the bottom of each news, I need to show the related news to a main news. And how can we do it? We will go to, and for SQL queries, we'll go to views in Drupal and create a view. We'll call it news related news below for main news, something like this. We'll show content of type news, and it will be a blog, and maybe we need to show 10 records below it if it is a related news, and the view should be saved and then edited. So here the update preview means, so now it is showing all the news, but we only want to show the news which are related with the particular news. And how can we do it? Let me also add the parent news field for now. So with each news, you can see we have a parent news field also coming up. This news and its parent news, this news is parent news. But we want to show these news based on the URL ID of the. So if the parent news URL ID is something, so in custom code we'll use parent news ID is equal to get ID in the URL somewhere here in the get. But in Drupal we can do the same using contextual filters in views. So here we will make parent news. This is the field on which that filter should be applied, and provide default value, and it should be content ID from the URL, and apply. And you can preview it. The get ID you can preview here as well. For this, let me just first go to content and note the parent ID of Asia Cup. It is going to be, so if I hover over edits, you can see the node 24 is its ID. So if I preview 24 and apply, so you can see now all the 3 news related to that particular news are showing up. So that's way this way you can check how your application is behaving in views. We need to hide this Asia Cup cricket because we have the functionality now, and I can remove this field, and if now we can see the related news. We will show it in HTML list and apply, and let us change it to related news. Apply. You can see we have these 3 news now, and we'll save it. Now this is going to be a block which we need to show on a particular page. So for that we need to go to block layout. View is ready. So we are on the block layout page, and I will come to the content section, content below, and here I will use the related block we just created, and it should show only on the content type news, so that it's only available on the news, and save block. So I'll just click on save blocks. Now if I go to any news, for example, Asia Cup cricket is going to be held in September 2025. If I click on it, hopefully the bottom of the page, here we have the related news. So this related news is based upon the news, the parent news we have clicked. And if I go to the US elections news, US elections, this is the main news, and here we have all the news related to that particular parent news. So all of this is now automatic and contextual. Let us do some more work so you get the concepts of how powerful this self-referencing it can be, and with the help of views we can further improve it. So for example, if I have this related news, and if I click on Washington, so here I need to show parent news in the right corner and the sibling news below that, and that's the next thing we are going to do. The sibling news, by sibling news I mean other related news within the same US elections category. So we'll create a new view. Click on add view, and I will call it news because maybe we have multiple displays in this view. I will show you what multiple displays in the view are, but for now let us call it news, and we'll show the content of type news. And the first block I want to show is the parent news. So let us call it parent news, and it will have one, but let me for some concepts leave it like this and save and edit. So this block is going to be known as parent news. Now if you come to the preview section, you can see all of the news are shown, but we want only the news which are which have a parent, and the news will be in the URL. The ID of the news will be in the URL. On that basis, we'll be choosing the parent of that particular news. So right now, and I will add the parent news also here, just for you to show parent news. And you can see each news has its own parent. So if I click on Kamala Harris holds a rally in Washington, so it should show me US elections, this one. Similarly, if I click on this one, it should show me this. So it means it will be a contextual filter based on the ID of this news. And how to do it? We will click on contextual filters, and it should be URL. Sorry, should be ID. So filtering should be taking place to ID, and will be content ID from the URL. So whichever ID is in the URL, the get parameter, that news will be, that ID will be used to filter. So let us go to some of the news. If I click on this Kamala Harris, this news ID is 31. So if I preview, use this 31 in the 31. So it should show me the parent of 31 news, and that's how it is showing up. But we don't need the title of Kamala Harris here. So what we can do is the first title we can remove, and now only US elections 2025 will be shown. So let us use this block now. The view is ready. Any news in the URL, its parent will be shown. So for example, it is 31 will show you the US election. So I will save the view, and I'll come to block layout again, and here in the sidebar, maybe sidebar right if we have any region here. I think there is no. This is the sidebar. Here we'll use parent news and save. Now if I save block, if I go to content and Kamala Harris news, you can see the parent news has this US election. Similarly, if I go to any other news, Trump holds a huge rally, again the parent news is this, because in the URL, though here the pretty URLs have been used, but ID is being taken from the news ID here and passed to this view, and it is filtering this field based on the UID in the, sorry, the content ID in the URL. Similarly, if you come to any of the Pakistan cricket news, so for example, Wahab Riaz is going to be the coach for Pakistan, so the parent news is Asia Cup cricket is going to be held in September. So this is going to be the parent news, and the power of it is if I click on the parent news, in the related news we see all the related news as well. But if you click on any of the related news, the parent news is shown here. Now the next step is, and I will quickly do it, show the siblings of this particular news below the parent news. The sibling of this news below the parent news. So for example, if this is a news, what I mean by sibling news is, if I click on the parent news, here these are three news. So if I have this one being shown Wahab, so these two, Squad and Pakistan, these two news should show up if I click on it. If I click on this one, these two should show up below the parent news. So for that, let us quickly create another block, the same view. I'll go to views, and in the news, I'll edit it. And here I will create a new view, and I'll call it sibling. The block is called sibling news. And here, sibling news. One thing in views, if you have multiple displays, you should have this block or this page selected, otherwise changes will take place over all the displays. This is very crucial to note. For example, I had to change this title of the news. So if I chose all, it would change everything, even in this parent news display. So be careful about that. Now, in this sibling news, I need to show titles, not the content, but the page title. So again, here I will choose this block, title, news title, and apply. So, and I also need to remove contextual filter from here because this has come from the previous one. So now sibling news, we are now seeing all the news, but here there is a very crucial concept, and if I will leave the view here, but if I come to some news, maybe this Kamala Harris news, you can see the parent field is there in the news, which is US elections. So now the filtering should take place not through the URL here, but through this field. So for example, if I want to show all the news in US elections, the ID of this news should be passed to the view contextual filter rather than the ID here in the URL. In that case, the view should have a mechanism where we can filter through this one, which is a field inside the main entity, the news entity. So for this very purpose, we have a module, content module, and it's called views token argument. Views token argument. I already have installed this. You can go and check yourself, but I have installed it to save time. And what this module does is it will provide contextual filter value. And let me show you that I have to filter on that particular ID. So the parent should be show me all the news whose parent is what, whose parent is called default value, and this token value. Do I have the token module installed? Let me just quickly check if it is installed, because I thought I have installed it. So I think the module needs to be installed, so this is a good way to show you how to install Drupal modules also. And in the, because I'm using DDEV, we just quickly install this module. Now we will enable the module. By the way, you can quickly come check any views again, because I have closed this. So I'll go to sibling news, and here now if I click on the contextual filter for parent news, again provide default value, it would have the token also. This is the token value, and you can browse tokens, and this is through the token module. And we'll come to the nodes, because news is a node in Drupal here. So in the content, we have a field of this is that field on which we need to, okay, we need to either copy it, or here if you have your cursor here and then come back to the token parent news, so you can copy the token here. So what this means is that it will now take the contextual filter, will take the argument from node field, let's go parent news, and apply. In order to test it, for example, if I have to check all the news for US elections, so in the, because the US election ID is 28, I know it, update, so it will show all the US elections. And let us check the news for Asia Cup also, this one. So this is the parent news, its ID is 24. So in the view, if I change it to 24, it will show me all the news of Asia Cup. And by the way, this is repeating, so what we can do is we can remove the parent news field, this one, and it will now show us just the related news. So it is also contextual now. The value of the filter will be passed from the field value of parent news and save. There is a problem still in it, but right now I'll go to structure block layout again, and I need to, below the sidebar, the parent news, I need to place this block also, which is sibling news, and it will also show on the news content type and save. Okay, so now if I go to any of the news, for example, if I go to US, maybe this one, Kamala Harris, so this value should be passed, the US election should be passed to the sibling news. Let me check why is it not working. So if I go to the view again, sibling news, content parent default token. Okay, maybe we forgot to check this one. Get fields raw values and apply and save. If I go back to it, so now you can see the news are being shown, because now the raw value means the ID is now being passed. So which ID is being passed? This ID, the ID of this news, parent news, is being passed to this filter, and it is filtering through that to show you the sibling news. But there is a problem which I just told you, and the problem is Kamala Harris holds a rally. This news also is showing up here, so we should not be showing the one which is in the URL. And for this, there is also a powerful feature in views, and that is if I go back to the view again here, first things, let us make it HTML list, because that is not an HTML list, that was unformatted list. And now in the contextual filter, we will add another filter, that is to the ID of the node. So if there is an ID in the news being shown, will be the content ID from the URL. So if I'm on the Kamala Harris news, so this ID will be used for the filter, but there is an option in the more section which means exclude. So it means whatever is the ID in the URL, that one should be excluded. So now, if for example in the news it is or maybe I just save it and go to the news, this news Kamala Harris news. So that's it. So the parent news is this, and the sibling news are these two. Trump holds a rally and Trump is expected to win. This is because we excluded the ID of this news from this view. That's why it's now not showing. And if I click on this news, so the parent news is being shown, and the news of the other siblings are also shown, but not the one which is in the URL. If I click on this, this is kind of a cycle, a very powerful system. Just using self-referencing news entity, we have achieved all this. And if I click on a parent news, the related news are shown. If I click on the related news, the siblings are shown. And if any of the siblings is clicked like this, that that is not shown up here because of the exclusion we made. So there was a lot to cover, and just 2 more minutes to show you something. If I come to CNN.com, so this is going to be the main news on the home page, and then the related news. These 3 are the related news. So to build something like this on the home page, for the home page, we can do something very quickly. For example, if I, and normally such news are called top news. So create a top news. Let me quickly create a taxonomy. Taxonomy is for categorization. So here we'll create a new vocabulary. We'll call it news categories. And here we'll add a new news and we'll call it top news. That's it. Now we'll edit the main content. We have the parent content. So for example, we want to show one of the news as a top news. So maybe Asia Cup cricket is going to be held in September. This is going to be top news. So here we need to specify the field for the taxonomy we have just created. So for that, we need to go to structure content types. And in the news content type, anytime you need to create or edit extra fields, you will come to the structure content type section. You create new field, and it will be a reference field, and we'll call it category. And it will refer the taxonomy term we just created, taxonomy term of news categories, and save. Now we need to edit the content, the check up content, and here we have a field of top news. So we'll make it top news so that we can filter through it. Now just quickly, we're going to create a new view, and we'll call it top news. Content of and it will be a block 788. So here we need to apply another filter, and that is going to be the category, so that only top news are shown in it. Maybe drop down is fine, also apply, and here we'll select top news, apply. So if you view it, the top news is being shown here, and save. That's what we needed. Now we need to show the related news also with the top news. For this very purpose, what we can do is we can create a relationship to and this is again the power of self-referencing entity. So parent news, and here these are 2 relationship types. This one is and both of these are different based on the direction. So right now we are fetching the news, so we want to know which news is referring this particular news. So that's why we will use this option and apply. So you can see now the same title is shown 3 times. This is being shown 3 times because those of you who know SQL, they would know, because with this article in original one, the 3 articles were related. That's why 3 articles are right now shown. But this is not what we want to achieve. We want to show the. So what we can do is we can create the parent. We will show the parent news field also with this. Apply. Hold on. Okay. So this is these are the 3 related news now shown with the one we are. Okay. So you can see, because we made the relationship to the same news. So we have content title and content parent news both through the relationship we are showing. So here you can see this is the title and this is the parent news. This is title, this is parent news. And now there is a powerful feature in views which is known as grouping. By the way, let us make it HTML list also. Okay. So here all the news are now being shown, but we need to group on this Asia Cup, because these are the common ones. So to make it group with this, we'll click on the HTML list settings. In the group field settings, we'll use the parent news and apply. So now you can see all of this content is being grouped by the main news, the parent news. But this is then redundant. So views has a feature which is known as exclude from display. So in this case, if we do this, you can see the grouping is on this field and we have the related news with it and save it. So that's how we have achieved something for the home page, so that the top news is shown with its sub news. And now it's time to show it on the home page. So we'll go to block layout and maybe in the hero section, ignore the design. It's going to be top news, or what? Yes, top news. And we will show it only on the front page. So if you want to show it only on the front page in Drupal, you have to use this, and this is written here. And say block, save blocks. And if you go to home page now, you can see the top news is this, but it has 3 news also associated. And one thing, if I just change the US elections news also top news, and if I come here, you can see even 2 top news are being shown with their relevant. And one thing, some of the news have been skipped. So what we can do here is in the view for such things, maybe we need 20 news and save. So now both the news are being shown. Normally you have 3 or 4 or 5 news with a parent news. So any set number is fine. And that's all for this episode. Hopefully it was informational. Do mention it in comments so that we get some inspiration and we create such content for you in future as well. Thank you. See you in the next episode.